What's up, everyone? Barcelona versus Elche today, 3-0 win for Barcelona and a bounce-back game after the loss to Bayern Munich in the Champions League. That being said, Elche is one of the worst teams in La Liga. They're in dead last right now, extremely limited. And to make matters worse, they got a red card in the 15th minute. It was a deserved red card. So we'll get into all of that later. But Fern, how much value are you actually putting on this result?
Very little, if any. I don't like what can we really say about this game, that's um that says anything. I mean,
Is this at least like a feel-good game after?
no, it's not. No, it's not a feel good game because honestly, a lot of the issues that we were running into against Bayern, I still saw today. Obviously it's a different lineup. I actually liked some of the players that Xavi decided to start today. And then there was one in particular that I didn't like, but I mean, uh, here's the thing: if you're going against a team like Elche, so first of all, in the league in La Liga, we've played 20th place 2 weeks in a row, basically. Last week, Cadiz was in 20th, and then this week Elche's in last. So, two really poor teams to play against. But that being said, and I know I said this last week, but I said against Cadiz, I didn't really know how to take the game, but at the very least, it was like a convincing win, and they showed a lot of good things in my opinion. And
Cadiz at least tried to offer some offense. I feel like Elche.
Not only did they try to offer some offense, but Barca actually looked very good, and it looked like it carried over into the Champions League game. Today looked like a worse version of them on Tuesday. And I mean, obviously, they played great on Tuesday. They still lost 2-0. But, first of all, it feels like with Barca that when the finishing woes kind of start, they kind of keep going until they stop. And I know that's obvious, like an obvious statement, but when Barca starts having trouble finishing, it feels like it takes them a while to get those finishing boots back on. Like Barca could have won this game 7-8-9-0 easy. And it was a 3-0 win. And it wasn't look, Barca was obviously the better team, but that goes without saying. So, I don't know really exactly what you could take away from this game. In my opinion, it's a lot of negatives, not, to bash Barca or anything. I'm happy they got the 3 points, and
You needed the 3 points to keep up with Madrid, obviously.
right, yeah.
But yeah, so
If anything, just real quick, if anything, it felt if anything, I got more from watching individual players than watching the team as a whole or the game as a whole. I came away with a lot of opinions on a lot of different players, but that's about on some players, but that's about it. Not really anything about Barca really as a squad, other than they need to fix up the finishing. But I don't know. It's a really it was a weird game to watch, and even though they got the 3-0 win and the 3 points, it's I don't know.
a few notes on Elche. Elche has gone to the Camp Nou 23 times and never won. They only have 1 point. So out of 6 games, 5 losses and 1 tie. Some of their scorelines this year have been a 3-0 loss to Betis, 4-0 loss to Villarreal, and 4-1 loss to Bilbao, which, I mean, those are all some of the better teams in La Liga, but still consistently heavy losses. And then in 6 goals, they've conceded 17 goals. In 6 games, I mean, they've conceded 17 goals.
And to my point, with all those results, they're playing now against second place, and it's a 3-0 loss. If anything, they could come away from this game feeling a little better, especially when they got a red card in, what was it, the 15th minute?
Yeah, it was Gonzalo Verdu with the red card in the 14th minute. It was an NFL tackle. Lewandowski was clearly in one-on-one with the goalie if he would have let him go. So, but it's still really dumb decision. You're putting at this point.
Honestly, what I think is, I think what he thought was, it's early in the game. I'll take him down. I'll get a yellow, and then we move on.
But that's dumb because he was the last man, and it was a clear goal scoring opportunity.
No, I agree with you, and the decision was correct. I'm just that's probably what he thought, but what are you doing, duh?
Any possibility of them trying to play any type of effective counterattack type of strategy went out the window with the red card. After that, it was
Yeah,
just
and if
all
you
hands on deck defense, and Barca with another like 78% possession game. I was, as soon as that red card happened, I was ripping my hair out. I was like, I'm gonna have to force myself to watch this whole game.
yeah. No, and I mean, it like you said, it really did affect their strategy. They started with 5 in the back, which honestly, if you're last place and you're playing against a team like Barca, makes sense. But then they had to change to a 4-4-1. So what are you gonna do? Chances
Elche's
and then the
first shot was
shots.
in the 90th minute. The
Yeah, I
first
know.
shot in the 90th
Ridiculous.
minute.
Yeah, so I can't even really talk about the defense at all. Well, just I would talk about one play on defense, and we'll get there. But I just really think that the main problem for Barca was finishing. Like I said, they could have won 7-8-9-0 easy. It could have been one of those games where they just run away with it early and then just rest all their players. No need to put in players like Rafinha or Fati or and honestly, anyone. They could have just stayed with the 90 the whole time, take out Lewandowski and that's the other thing. With Lewandowski, he's another one that it feels like when he gets into these finishing ruts, they just don't end for a while. Because he had about 5 chances, 6 chances maybe today in good position, put in 2, which fine, but even in the first finish, it wasn't a good
And they're
finish. He got
all tap-ins.
I don't think that matters too much, but even the first finish, it wasn't a good finish, not because it was a tap in, but he gets the ball, it hits it off his right foot, and then it bounces off his left foot. And even when he's getting up, sliding, getting up, he doesn't look happy with the finish because it wasn't a good finish. Like he's not getting the ball the way that he was for the first 5 weeks of the season into the net because he's had some really good goals and some really great plays, but if you're going to be our goal scorer, you can't be missing all your chances like that. And if you add that with all the chances he had on Tuesday, that's like 10 chances and you've put 2 away and not 10 like shots, 10 good chances in front of goal.
If I'm a Barca fan, I would be frustrated too. The fact that he couldn't score in the important game, which was against Bayern. Obviously, 2 goals today. I think Lewandowski is just stat padding in La Liga against the bottom feeding teams, and then he has to show up in the bigger games at some point. I mean, it's still early in the season, and it's great to score 2 goals against Elche, but I mean, this is not really the reason that you brought him here.
If you want to call it padding his stats, fine, but he's just doing his job. Like he is putting the ball in the net. It's just it looks not as convincing. And honestly, for a guy who's 34, maybe playing 90 minutes a game isn't the way you need to manage that guy. That came to my head today. Like maybe the guy just has weak legs at this point because he's been playing 90 minutes for 6 weeks straight. It's one of the reasons I wanted to keep Aubameyang at the very least for a rotation spot. We started Depay today. He started on the wing and Lewandowski started with him. If we needed to give Lewandowski a break or honestly just rotation, get his head clear, whatever, this would have been a perfect game to start Aubameyang in. But we don't have another striker. We don't have one that we can give Lewandowski a rest or a mental break. So that pressure's on him every single week and sometimes twice a week. So
yeah. Lewandowski is a fundamental piece for Xavi. Obviously, he's like the offense just. Has Barca played a game without Lewandowski since he came? Yeah, so that would be interesting to see if they're ever forced into a position where Lewandowski is not available to play. How would that go exactly for Barcelona?
I think it would be similar to Real Madrid with Benzema, except that Benzema has another key, clear leader in the attack, and that's Vinny. With Barca, I wouldn't say there's one clear, but I would say as a team,
I think Dembele carries the load a lot for Barca's offense.
I agree with that, and I think that at the moment, if you just sort of strip away the goals and stats, I would say he's our best player. But I think that Barca looks a little bit more complete as a team going forward. But then once you can be complete and put yourself in great positions all you want, but if there's no one there to put the ball in the net, then what's the point?
Are there any individual performances that you want to dig into a little bit?
Yeah, so I actually found it very interesting that Xavi still decided to start Koundé in the right back position.
I was about to say that was going to be my first point. I thought this would be perfect for Bellerin to start.
It would have been if there was ever, and he started last week against Cadiz. So why not start him again this week against Elche? To me, it doesn't really make sense. Why not play you? And you made it a point to go out and get Bellerin, so play him. There's really no reason. Like you said, the first shot Elche got in this game was in the 90th minute. I don't think having Bellerin in there is going to change that. And something that I did notice actually with Kunde is that you can so tell that he's a center back. It's so obvious. He always drifts into the middle, especially when we have the ball. There was one play in particular. I don't remember exactly when it was, but he's carrying up the ball the middle and passes to Dembele, who's on out wide, and then continues running down the middle of the field, which is fine if you're a fullback. Sure, you're meant to go help with the attack, but go wide, go overlap them, go add an extra man on the wing, pull someone out of the middle. But he kept running right down the middle. It's just, I saw him in the center of the field a lot. And as a right back, not that you can't move around, but your job as a right back is to,
and Bellerin would have been making that overlap
exactly.
Run.
And so create widths, spread out their defense, their midfield, give them something to worry about more than just Dembele on the side so that their center backs can stay in the middle. I don't know. So, like, again, Bellerin, it was the game for him to start. Not that I think he should start over Kunde, depending on how he performs, but we haven't really seen him perform just one full game.
I could understand if Xavi wants to continue with Koundé against a team that is extremely good on offense, and he just wants a defender to be more in the defensive role. Exactly. But in a game where I think pretty much everyone was expecting Barca to heavily dominate possession and be able to put numbers forward pretty much the entire game, that seems to me like a game for Bellerin. But again, only Xavi knows the reason why Bellerin didn't start the game. And then on left back, I think Balde was one of the best players in the game for me. Tito Balde had a good game.
I agree. I really, really like this kid, Balde.
2 assists for Balde. 2 assists.
2 assists for Balde. I think he still drifts out of position a bit too much, but he's a young kid. He'll learn. And with Barca's style, there's kind of some forgiveness with that, because of how high the defense pushes. And honestly, I'm glad you brought this up, because I wanted to bring up De Jong as well. I kind of like him in this holding role. He drops deep, like into the defense, and it actually does allow for the fullbacks to go up more in an attacking role, because he's a solid holding player. Obviously, earlier in the season, I was saying that I saw him playing almost as a striker sometimes when he came on as a sub in the middle. But when he's put in that holding role, he does it well. And he really does add another element to the defensive structure of Barca, which I really like, because defense has been a complaint of mine and a lot of Barca fans for the last 2-3 years, probably more.
De Jong played well, and so the starting midfield three was De Jong, Kessie, and Pedri. De Jong was obviously the deep lying midfielder, and also having him sit in deep
lying midfielder.
Having him sit in deep, he's also good at starting the play, creating the play, and getting the link. I did notice though that Kessie and Pedri were pushed up very high. They were almost like pushed up with Lewandowski right like on the back line of Elche a lot of times.
That is kind of how Barca's been playing this season, and I find it really interesting. But I think it works with this Barca team because now that their midfield is pretty much all young, you kind of can demand that extra physical endurance from these players like Gavi, Pedri, De Jong, Kessie, who's young as well. These are all players that have the stamina to get up there and get back. But also, I think I get it today. You're playing against Elche. There's no real pressure on the defense.
Would you do that in an important game, knockout Champions League game?
No, but at the same time, midfielders do need to get up there. They need to have a man that's going to occupy the center backs as well, so the play can go wide. And we've seen it happen a lot this season where, Pedri gets in these positions in the middle. Somehow he makes the runs, and he works really well off of Lewandowski, where
they have a good link.
He makes the run into the middle, cutting right through the defensive line. Lewandowski makes a quick little flick, whatever, the ball comes in, and then there was the goal. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but the ball came in from, I believe it was Dembele across the middle, and he just one-timed it into the corner. So I do think that the center mids need to get up and into those positions. And with a player like Lewandowski up there, it does really work. That being said, I don't see Kessie really being the guy to do that. So for me, from a tactical standpoint, if you were playing a better team, I would only send Pedri and sometimes De Jong up there and have Kessie do the holding stuff.
Yeah, because I remember at the start of the season, you thought Kessie was going to be the midfielder that plays the defensive muscle kind of position.
Yeah, because in the preseason, that's what De Jong was doing. He was just all the way up there. So I just
But
figured that's what would happen.
I thought it was going to be De Jong, and I said that a few times on the show because De Jong has defensive qualities, and even I think Koeman played him as center back a few times. Not trying to co-sign Koeman as a coach or anything, but yeah, I'm a little bit unclear exactly as to where Kessie is going to fit in on this team because it seems like the holding role is Xavi prefers Busquets and De Jong. I don't think Kessie is an extremely technical player either. I mean, he's good, but he's not on the level of Pedri, for example, in terms of being a playmaker. I think if you're going to play with De Jong and Kessie, you could play a 4-2-3-1 with the two holding mids, but I don't think Barca likes that style. They want the 4-3-3.
No, they don't. I mean, my prediction before the season was based on the preseason. Before the preseason, I would have said the exact same thing, that De Jong would be the holding midfielder, but then he's just up there. So, who knows? But I'm glad you brought up Kessie. I also don't really know where Kessie's going to fit in this squad. I don't know.
It's not like typical characteristics.
I'm starting to think that of all the transfers that we've made in the last year and a half, that I don't see the point. Just depth, I guess. But you're right. He's not a super technical player, which is kind of crucial if you're going to be on Barca. So yeah, I don't really see where Kessie fits in this squad. And it sucks to see this against a team like Elche, because I agree with him coming out at as early as he did. At half he came out, right?
I think he came out because of the yellow cards.
Yes,
was part of the reason, but he was the player that was struggling the most to get involved in the first half. I didn't really notice him.
I think it's both of those things. One, you're struggling. Two, you have a yellow card.
It shouldn't have been a yellow. It was kind of a BS call, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that, but also the fact that you're having to resort to that kind of foul is like, and I keep saying against a team like Elche, but it's just the truth. Like, I would have expected more from someone who's going to be playing alongside all of the rest of our lineup. I don't know where Kessie goes from here, because it was a weak performance by him. I don't think I can really criticize anyone's performance too much, but I think I can with Kessie. Oh, really quick, I do want to give a quick shout out to Memphis Depay. I'm glad he got a goal. He really went out there, and I think he was the one who gave out the most effort today. Maybe it's still, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't call his performance the best performance, but it's up there with the best performance. And, I think we should give Depay some more chances. I think he deserves them. He was our savior at the beginning of last season. I think if you are going to rest Lewandowski, throw the guy in there. I think, I'm glad that Depay got the start. I'm glad that he scored. I'm glad that he played well. And he's at the club for now, so I hope he does well.
So Dembele and Lewandowski are locked in starters for me. Do you think there's an opportunity for Depay to take over for Rafinha?
No, not really. If there was going to be someone to take over for Rafinha, I think it would be Ansu Fati. Your next 9 games are all games that aren't going to be easy, and
the month of October is going to be a big month for Barca's next few games. So we have the 2-week break right now for international break. Then it's Mallorca, Inter, Celta Vigo, Real Madrid, Villarreal, Athletic Club, Bayern, Valencia. This is a kind of a tough game to analyze, mostly due to the fact Barcelona is playing against Elche, which is one of the weakest teams in the league. But you got the 3 points. You put the pressure on Madrid, so Barcelona will be in first place overnight, forcing Madrid to get a win over Atleti if they want to keep the top spot. So thank you guys for checking out the show, and we'll be back with whatever we feel like.
Peace.